blackness of space was silent, as always, cold, empty, lifeless. But tonight, something stirred where there should have been nothing. Deep in Sector 9, a place long abandoned by both human and alien traffic, a small research station floated, near an old asteroid belt. The crew on board was small, only 7 scientists and 1 ex-military technician. They had one job: listen. They were the ears of the United Earth Space Defense, scanning for strange signals or ancient tech left behind after the last border war. At 2:43 station time, something changed. It started as static, low, crackling noise. The technician Devore leaned forward and adjusted the audio filter. His eyes narrowed. Under the static, something pulsed like a heartbeat, but digital. Then came the voice. It wasn't human. It wasn't alien either. It was deep, broken, full of war. It repeated just 6 words. Unknown vessel. Location compromised. Fleet lost. Devore stared at the screen. Those 6 words were wrapped in a massive energy spike, the kind you only saw when a ship fired weapons too large to be legal. He hit the red button. Emergency transmission relay. Back on Earth. Inside Command Tower 7, a warning flashed across every screen. Signal from dead space, a location that had been blacklisted after a massive alien-human conflict decades. I'll go. No one had gone there in years. Nothing survived out there. No one came back. But now, something was there. Captain Aaron Vale was just finishing a training session when his orders came in. He was known as a soldier who followed logic, not politics. He had seen combat during the Gliesa War, and he had lost his brother to the Empire's bioships. Since then, he trusted machines more than people. The Admiral gave him one simple order: go to Sector 9. Find the source of the signal. Do not engage unless fired upon. Aaron didn't ask questions. He boarded the Starlance, a mid-class recon cruiser with a small but elite crew. His second-in-command, LT Sierra Knox, was the best codebreaker in Earth's fleet. His weapons officer, Karn, was a giant of a man, once a pit fighter on Mars. And then there was Rilo, the ship's AI, calm and focused, designed to think faster than any human. They entered jump space and arrived at the edge of dead Sector 9 in under 3 hours. What they saw chilled them. A massive debris field, floating husks of alien ships, twisted metal, vaporized hulls, drifting power cores still leaking light. Over 40 ships, all part of the Imperial Scout Fleet, according to the ID tags still. Broadcasting weak signals? Not one human ship among them, Sierra said softly. No survivors, Rilo added. Karn leaned in. This wasn't a fight. This was a massacre. Aaron ordered full scans. In the center of the debris was something strange. A black shadow on the radar, too perfectly round. It was massive. At first, the scanners said it wasn't there. It was. Then, it disappeared again. Sierra frowned. Something's messing with our sensors. Aaron stared at the screen. Rilo, adjust to deep field quantum scan. Strip out surface layers. It took the AI 2 minutes. Then the image resolved. It wasn't an asteroid. It wasn't a cloaked Imperial ship. It was a warship. But not like any they had ever seen. Human in design, but far more advanced. Sharp lines, stealth armor, a rotating energy core that looked alien in nature. The ship was twice the size of anything Earth had built. Its name was barely readable. On its dark hull, Warden Prime. No records, no history. No launch logs. It didn't exist. Suddenly, the Starlance shook. The unknown ship was powering up, Karn shouted. Weapons are charging. Should we raise shields? Not yet, Aaron ordered. The Warden Prime didn't fire. Instead, a voice boomed through every speaker on board, both human and AI systems. Human life form detected. Authorization, level 0, initiating protocol. Reveal a light shot out from the warship and scanned the Starlance. The ship didn't move, simply hovered like a god waking up after centuries of sleep. Aaron's mind raced. Rilo, what's level 0? It means highest clearance. Pre-protocol 1 level. There are no such codes in our current systems. This ship is older than our oldest records. Oh. It's from a future we never reached. Silence followed. Then, the warship opened a docking bay. An invitation. Aaron made a quick choice. He suited up. Took Karn with him. They floated over using magnetic tethers. As they approached the warship, its hull looked almost liquid in design-advanced nanotech that kept shifting, healing, repairing itself even now. Inside, they found no crew, just machines. The control room lit up as they entered. Screens showed war logs, star maps from before Earth's unification, and massive battle simulations. One log caught Aaron's eye. Constructed year 2741, command. Humanity Emergency Response Unit. Objective, final defense. But Earth's current year was only 2692. The ship was from the future, or an alternate past, and it was waiting for orders. Back. On the Starlance, Sierra shouted, "We've got company." An Imperial battleship had just dropped out of warp. Then another. And another. 6 in total. They surrounded the Warden Prime, broadcasting a single message in their alien tongue. Abandon. The relic. It belongs to the Empire now. Resistance is death. The warship responded for them. Its weapons came online silently. No power surge. No warning. It fired once. One pulse. All 6 Imperial ships vanished. Not exploded, not burned. Just erased. Not. A trace remained. Aaron stood still, inside the Warden Prime's command room. The visor reflected the weapon data. He whispered, "What are you?" The ship answered, "Defense Unit, created by Human High Command, standing by for activation." Back on Earth, alarms were now flashing across all military bases. The black box from the old war had triggered. Across human space, buried signals began to wake. The Warden Prime was only the first. The program had begun, and nothing could stop it now. The Warden Prime hovered silently in space, surrounded by the floating remains of the destroyed Imperial fleet. There was no smoke, no fire, just cold silence. It was as if the ships had never existed at all. Captain Arenvale stood on the dark command bridge of the massive warship. The ship's strange black metal floor vibrated softly under his boots. He could feel the power inside the vessel, something ancient, but not old, something deadly, but controlled. Behind him, Karn adjusted. His helmet had muttered, "This place feels." "Wrong," Aaron didn't answer. His eyes were on the main console. It had come alive when he stepped into the room. The controls didn't look like human tech. They were smoother, sharper, made of a light-sensitive metal that changed shape when touched. Still, they responded to Aaron like he had flown the ship before. Captain Relo's voice echoed from his earpiece. "We're receiving a data burst from the Warden Prime. It's uploading encrypted archives into our system." The display showed dates, files, mission logs. Dates. Sierra's voice came through next. "Captain, we checked the logs. This warship was built in the year 2741. "That's impossible," Aaron said. "It's 2692. "That's what I'm telling you," Sierra replied. "This ship was either built 50 years in the future or from a timeline we've never seen." Aaron turned to Karn. "You still think it feels wrong?" "I think we're sitting inside something that shouldn't be real," Karn said. Back on the Starlance, Sierra dug deeper into the files that had been shared. She was one of the best codebreakers Earth had ever trained, but this encryption wasn't like anything she had seen before. The coding patterns shifted in real time, like the data was alive and resisting her. "Come on," she whispered. "Just give me something," the ship suddenly answered. A small message flashed on her screen. "Project Warden, final line of defense. Activated only if humanity is in danger of extinction." She leaned back in her chair, eyes wide. Oh no. Then she saw something else. The ship had launched only once before. One mission. No survivors. Enemy fleet destroyed. The enemy. Unknown. Logs erased. Coordinates. "Classified, Rillo," she said, her voice shaky. "Cross-check this with historical files. Have we ever recorded a battle in Dead Sector 9? No, Lieutenant, the AI responded. Dead Sector 9 has been marked as uninhabitable since 2661. There's never been any recorded engagement there. But this warship has been here since 2741, she asked. Yes, Rilo replied. Then the question is, how did it get here? And why does it only respond to Captain Vale? Inside the warship, Orin placed his hand on the main console again. It responded instantly. A wave of light passed through the floor, the walls, and the ceiling like the ship was scanning him. Then a voice, calm and deep, spoke through the command deck. Genetic match confirmed. Captain Orin Vale. Clearance level, Prime. The console displayed a new file. It was marked Directive 01, do not wake until called. Called by who? Orin asked. Human High Command, the voice said. Issued at the end of the last war. Command chain expired. Awaiting manual override. Orin looked around. Override for what? To begin the program, the voice replied. Orin stepped back. No, not until I know what this program is. The voice paused. The program was created to activate multiple defense units if Earth fell. If extinction was certain, human fleets were destroyed. This is Protocol 0. You are now the last commander. Karn looked over, his voice quiet. If this is real, Earth might have more ships like this hidden, sleeping. And we just woke the first one, Orin said. Suddenly alarms flashed across the bridge. Rilo's voice came through. Captain, a second Imperial fleet has jumped in. 10 warships, heavier class. They're demanding surrender of the Warden. Prime? Or they'll open fire on both of us. Karn grinned. Let them try. Orin didn't smile. He walked to the console. Warden Prime, can you fire again? Yes, the voice said. But high-energy weapons will attract more enemies. Recommend evasive action or stealth protocol. Orin narrowed his eyes. Can you cloak? Cloaking now. Outside, the Warden Prime shimmered, then vanished. The Imperial fleet began scanning wildly, their sensors confused. The Starlance remained in place. It was now alone and surrounded. Rilo. Orin said, broadcast a fake distress signal. Okay, make it look like we lost control of the warship and it jumped out. Signal sent. The Imperials bought the lie. 4 of the ships warped out following the fake signal, but 6 remained, closing in. They're boarding, Sierra said. Multiple breach points detected. Orin moved fast. Karn with me. Rilo transferred to the Warden Prime. Sierra, you're in charge of the Starlance. If we go down, you disappear. Copy that, she said. Aren and Karn moved to the hangar. Small Imperial drones were cutting into the ship's hull. The airlock exploded inward. 3 tall, armored aliens stepped through. They carried pulse rifles and wore command armor. This wasn't a scouting force. This was a capture team. They didn't expect resistance. Karn met them head-on using a heavy gravity hammer. The first alien went flying. Armor shattered. Second aimed, but Orin dropped it with a plasma round to the chest. The third tried to retreat, but Karn tackled it and smashed its helmet. Seconds later, the ship went quiet again. Only a scouting wave, Orin said. More will come. I hope so, Karn said, wiping his hammer. I'm just getting warmed up. They returned to the warship. This time something was different. The Warden Prime had opened a new chamber. Inside was a glowing core, the size of a room. Floating inside it was a strange device, a cube of energy, pulsing with light. "What is it?" Arn asked. "Primary control key," the voice replied. "Only to be given to the Prime Commander." Orin reached out. The cube floated into his hand, light flowing through his skin. Suddenly, he saw images, flashes of the future. Cities burning, Earth under siege, alien weapons, and then warships. Dozens, hundreds, all shaped like the Warden. Prime, all hidden across the galaxy. Waiting. "Activate me," the voice said again, "and they will all awaken." Arn stood in silence. His world had just changed. Everything he knew about Earth's history, its future, was wrong or incomplete. He had a choice: start a new war, or control the greatest weapon ever built. And Earth might not be ready for either. The stars outside shimmered like broken glass. The Warden Prime drifted quietly in the shadow of a dead moon, hidden from all sensors. Arn stood alone on the ship's dark bridge, staring at the cube still glowing softly in his hand. Warm, alive almost, like it knew what he was thinking. He hadn't activated it yet. Behind him, Karn paced. "What's the plan, Captain?" "We've got Imperials hunting us. A ghost ship with impossible tech, and Earth still doesn't know what. We found out here." Arn turned to face him. "We wait. The Starlance is still in the clear. If we move too soon, we lose the only advantage we have: secrecy." Karn folded his arms. "They already know we found the ship. They sent 2 fleets. They're not going." To stop, a beep broke the silence. Rylo's calm voice echoed across the chamber. "Incoming transmission. Encrypted. Origin. Imperial command ship. Vraxis." Arn's jaw tightened. "Play it." The message came through in perfect English. The voice was cold, precise, not synthetic, but rehearsed. "To the human vessel in Dead Sector 9. You are in possession of stolen Imperial property. Surrender the relic ship immediately. You have 1 hour. Non-compliance will be seen as an act of war. We are already watching your homeworld." The message ended. Karn let out a low breath. "They're bluffing." "No, they're not," Arn said. "They know exactly what the Warden Prime is, or at least what it can do. They're afraid of it." Syrah's voice came in through the "comes." She sounded urgent. "Captain, I intercepted a hidden signal from one of the Empire's cruisers. They've already dispatched a stealth fleet. Its estimated time to Earth orbit: 8 hours. "Are you sure?" Arn asked. "I decrypted it myself," she said. "They plan to strike if we don't hand over the ship. They think if they kill us and Earth at the same time, the rest of humanity will fall in line." Arn looked down at the glowing cube in his hand. It pulsed once, as if answering his thoughts. "If I activate the program," he said quietly, "they'll strike harder. They'll know we've awakened something they can't control. But if you don't," Karn said, "Earth burns." Back. On Earth, high above the clouds in the orbital defense station Haven Core, Admiral Wren stood in front of a massive screen. Red warnings blinked across the display. The last message from Captain Vale had said only this: "We found something. Prepare for retaliation." She had no idea what it meant. But satellite footage showed Imperial ships already moving along the edges of human space. Her advisors argued in the background. "Maybe we negotiate. They'll never stop. We don't even know what Vale found." She raised a hand. Silence followed. "We will prepare every defense battery, ready to planetary shields. If the Empire is coming, they'll find Earth ready." Still deep in her mind, she feared that wouldn't be enough. The Warden Prime was no longer resting. Its hull began to glow faintly, lines of white-blue energy tracing across its surface like veins. The cube in Arn's hand started to hum louder. Something had changed. Rylo's voice came through. "Captain, we've picked up movement." Arn turned to the window. Through the stars, shapes began to appear, dark, angular ships, almost invisible. The stealth fleet had arrived early. Dozens of cruisers armed to the teeth, each larger than the Starlance. "They know we're here," Karn said. Syrah cut in. "They just disabled our long-range signal. Earth won't see them coming." Aaron stared out at the ships, then at the cube. "It's time," he said. He placed the cube into the console at the ship's center. The warship roared to life. Light exploded across every screen. Ancient human codes flickered alongside alien ones. The Warden Prime began broadcasting on a frequency no one had heard in over 100 years. Then, across space, others answered from deep asteroid fields under forgotten moons. Inside the atmospheres of gas, giant shapes began to rise. Warships, just like the Warden Prime. One by one, they emerged from the void. Silent, cold. Watching Relo's voice spoke again, but this time it was deeper, different. The Warden program is now online, awaiting primary command. Aaron stood tall. You know what to do? The Warden Prime charged its main weapon. The Imperial fleet opened fire, but their beams stopped mid-space, caught, bent, absorbed. Then, in perfect silence, the Warden Prime returned fire. One blast, 10 ships disappeared. The others tried to scatter. But the newly awakened Wardens moved fast, too fast. Like ghosts from the past, they flanked the Imperials, surrounding them. No explosions, no screams, just erasure. When the battle ended, there was no trace of the enemy, just stars. Far away, inside the command chamber of the Imperial High Seat, a tall figure watched a dark monitor. His face was calm, but his fists were clenched. "The Wardens have been activated," a voice beside him said. He nodded. "Then our time is short. Begin Phase 2. If the humans think they've won, they'll soon learn. They've only woken the true war." Back on the Warden Prime, Aaron looked at the stars, now filled with friendly shapes. "How many of these are there?" he asked. Relo answered. 237 units confirmed. Dozens more remain hidden, all now under your command. Karn laughed. "I guess you just became the most powerful man in human history." But Aaron didn't smile. He looked toward Earth, unaware of how close it had come to death. "They'll come again," he said. "And next time, they won't send scouts. They'll bring everything." The warship was silent, but the stars seemed to lean in closer, because the war had just begun, and humanity's greatest weapons had finally opened their eyes. Earth glowed softly below, a bright blue sphere floating peacefully in space. It looked untouched, unprepared, unaware, but just beyond the reach of its sensors. The Warden Prime remained cloaked in the darkness, hidden, watching inside the bridge. Captain Aaron Vale stood in silence. The glow of the console lit his face, but he wasn't looking at the controls. He was staring at the live feed from Earth. "They have no idea," he muttered. Karn leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "Maybe that's a good thing. The less they know, the safer they are." "But for how long?" Aaron asked. "We just destroyed a fleet that shouldn't have existed. The Empire isn't done. They're just getting started." Sierra's voice crackled through the comms. "Captain, incoming message from Earth Command. They're demanding an update. They've tracked our location. They know we're nearby." Aaron turned away from the screen, patched them through. A moment later, Admiral Wren's face appeared on the consoles, turned tired. Her gray uniform sharp, even through the static. "Captain Vale," she said, "you've gone dark for 24 hours. The last thing you sent was a warning. Now our outer sensors picked up evidence of a massive energy event in Dead Sector 9. What's going on out there?" Aaron paused. His eyes met Wren's through the screen. "I found something," he said slowly. "A warship. Not Imperial, not alien, ours, but from the future." Gren didn't blink. "Excuse me." "The Warden Prime," he continued. "It was built for one purpose: defense, if Earth ever faced extinction. It was locked away, hidden, and it responded only to me." Wren's voice sharpened. "You're saying this ship was built by humans but from a future that hasn't happened yet?" "Yes," Aaron said, "and it's not alone. When I activated it, hundreds more woke up, all across space." There was a long pause. "Why didn't you report this immediately?" she asked. "Because if Earth knows," he said, "the Empire will know we know. They'll move faster, hit harder. If they realize we've awakened the entire Warden program, they might come in force. Total invasion? Ren frowned. And you think hiding this from Earth is the answer? I think we're already in a war Earth isn't ready to fight, he replied. We need time. Time to learn what these ships can do. Time to train crews. It's time to figure out who really built them in. Why? There was silence again. Then Ren said very well. You have 7 days, Captain. After that, I want full disclosure. Earth can't afford secrets. The screen cut out. Around sighed. 7 days isn't enough. Karn looked at him. Then we'd better make them count. Deep within the Warden Prime, Sierra walked through a newly unlocked corridor. Walls, but covered in symbols, some human, some not. She placed her hand. On a glowing panel, the door opened, revealing a tall glass chamber filled with blue light. Inside were rows of humanoid figures tall. Armored, motionless. She stepped back. Captain, you might want to see this. Arn arrived a few minutes later. He stared through the glass. What are they? He asked. Biomechs, she said. Part organic, part machine, not drones. Yes. These were grown. Nice. Designed to fight alongside the Wardens. Do they respond to us? I don't know, she said. But this one moved when I entered. One of the figures near the front twitched slightly, its fingers curled, its head tilted, its eyes like liquid metal. Blinked open, it spoke in a calm voice. Commander recognized. Arn stepped forward. Can you understand me? Yes, it replied. I am Warden Seraph One, awaiting orders. I am turned to Sarah. They're not machines. They're soldiers. Made for a war we haven't seen yet, she whispered. Arn looked back at the figure. What were you built to fight? The answer came quickly. The swarm. Neither Arn nor Sierra spoke for several seconds. The Empire? Arn asked. No, the Warden Seraph replied. The Empire is a shadow. Of the true threat, the swarm comes after. Ow. They devour galaxies. They are the reason the program exists. Meanwhile, far from Earth, on the edge of Imperial space, a figure walked through a quiet war chamber. His robes were black, his skin pale, marked with gold threads of ancient implants. He stood before a tall window, watching the stars. Report, he said softly. A junior officer stepped forward. Our second fleet was destroyed in dead Sector 9, no survivors. And the relic activated. The man closed his eyes. So the humans have finally awakened the Prime Warden. The officer hesitated. Sir, if the rumors are true, the Wardens are not just weapons. They're signals. Yes, the man said. And if too many wake at once, the swarm might hear them. The officer paled. Shall I inform the other high seats? No, the man said. Not yet. Let the humans think they have the advantage. Let them gather their fleet. When the swarm arrives, we'll be the only ones ready. Back on the Warden Prime, the Warden Seraph stepped forward. Its movements were smooth, precise, almost human. There are more like me, it said. In other Warden ships, sleeping, waiting for command. Arn asked, why haven't the Wardens been used before? Because the cost is too high, the Seraph replied. To use us is to risk being seen by something worse. Sarah shivered. The swarm. The Seraph nodded. They are drawn to power. 2 signals. The Empire is afraid of them too. That's why they hunt the Wardens. They want to bury the past before it's noticed. Ern stared at the dark glass of the chamber. He saw his reflection tired, uncertain. We'll have to awaken more Wardens, he said, and fast, before either side decides to end this. Quietly, Sierra looked at him. You sure Earth won't find out? Arn nodded. Not yet. Earth must not know. Not until it's ready. But deep down he wondered what if it never would be, because something was coming, something worse than. The Empire and the Wardens were just the beginning. The stars were quiet. Something had changed. Arn Vale stood in the command center of the Warden Prime, watching a strange ripple move across deep space, like a scar appearing in the dark. It wasn't visible to the naked eye, but the ship's sensors caught it. A distortion. A tear. Karn leaned over the console. Is that natural? Sarah shook her head. Oh, it's not a wormhole. It's more like Something's watching. Rin turned toward the front display. From where? The distortion is coming from beyond mapped space. Far past the edge of Imperial territory. Be farther than the Empire has ever gone. The ship's AI spoke calmly. Gravitational patterns suggest non-Imperial origin. Entity is vast. It is not approaching. It is observing. Karn looked up slowly. Observing what? The Warden Prime, Rilo said. And the others we activated. Arn felt his stomach turn. It saw the signal. Sira tapped her screen. Pulling up waveforms, it responded too. Not with words. Not a language. But it echoed, like it recognized the pattern. The Warden Seraph, standing silently in the shadows near the back of the room, stepped forward. You have been seen, it said. Karn narrowed his eyes. You mean by the swarm? The Seraph nodded. The Wardens are beacons. Their activation announces humanity's strength and weakness. The swarm does not speak. It only consumes. And now it knows where you are. Arn clenched his fists. How long before it comes? The Seraph answered with silence. Far across space, in a system long abandoned and filled with debris. A single Imperial scout ship drifted into the void. Its mission was secret, its captain unknown. The vessel stopped near the anomaly, the one Earth hadn't detected. The one even the Empire feared to mention. There in the stillness a shape appeared. It wasn't a ship, wasn't a creature. It was both and neither. It had no lights, no form that made sense. It shifted constantly like it refused to follow the rules of nature. And then, out sound, the scout ship vanished. Gone. No fire. No impact. Just gone. Back on the Warden Prime, alarms blared. Sira jumped. Something's wrong, she said. A data surge, millions of compressed packets flooding through long-range comms. Imperial? Arn asked. No, she whispered. Something else. They're not trying to break in. They're trying to learn, Rilo confirmed. A foreign intelligence is scanning every system, every code, every frequency. The lights flickered. Karn drew his weapon out of instinct. What the hell is it doing? He asked. The Seraph stared forward. It is learning your language, then. Silence. The lights stabilized. The systems went quiet, and a message appeared on the main screen. 3 words, we see you. Arn stepped forward. That's not Imperial tech. It's not any tech, Sira said. It's thought packaged, broadcast, like a mind forcing itself into our systems. Rilo interrupted, voice tense for the first time. Captain, all other Warden ships just went dark. I've lost connection to them. They're being cut off, the Seraph said. One by one. Arn's voice was low. It's already begun. Meanwhile, on Earth, Admiral Wren walked through the dark halls of Earth's Defense Command. She had just received an encrypted burst from a Black Ops. It's a Tide Light, one she hadn't activated in 10 years. It showed nothing but an empty patch of space, where a scout vessel used to be. No wreckage, no signal, just a timestamp and a silent gap. She stopped in front of the war table. Get me Captain Vale, she told her aide. He's off-grid, the aide replied. Last contact was 2 days ago. She looked up at the stars displayed on the wall. Then, we prepare without him. Alert the orbital batteries. Begin silent evacuation protocols. Her aide's eyes widened. Evacuation? From what? Wren's? Face darkened. We're no longer alone. Back aboard the Warden Prime, Karn studied the enemy signal. It hasn't moved yet, he said. It's still sitting in deep space. It doesn't need to move, Arn replied. It's already inside the system. Watching, hiding. Sira stood and pointed to the map. If it wanted to attack, it already would have. It's waiting for something. Or someone. The Empire, Karn asked. No, Arn said slowly. Us. It's waiting to see what we do with the Wardens. The Seraph turned its head, slow and mechanical. It may test you first. Not with fleets, but with fragments. Fragments of what? Sira asked. The lights dimmed. Rilo's voice dropped in tone, coming warp signatures. Multiple. All unknown. Karn pulled up the tactical map. Where are they heading? Ern answered before Relo could. Earth. The race began. The Warden Prime moved faster than any known vessel, cut across stars like a knife, space bending around it. But the unknown. Signals were faster strange, darting objects that changed shape mid-flight, leaving behind trails of data, static, and broken gravity. Visual contact in 1 minute, Relo said. Objects are not ships. They are living machines. On the main screen, shapes appeared, swarms of shifting masses. They moved like insects, but grew and shrank at will. They didn't fly, they swam through space, bending light around them. Seraph stepped beside Aaron. These are scouts, it said. It's not the swarm's full force. Just a warning. A warning, Karn asked. The Seraph nodded. A taste of what is coming. Aaron watched the earth grow larger in the distance. His home. His people. He pressed his hand on the console. All weapons online, he ordered. Let's show them Earth isn't defenseless. The ship lit up with power. Missiles, lasers, energy beams from another age. The Warden Prime fired. The first wave of invaders broke apart, but not like normal ships. They splintered into smaller units, then reformed. A single shot wasn't enough. Targeting clusters. Sira shouted. Try pulse bursts. Karn added. The Warden Prime adapted, quickly analyzing patterns. A new type of weapon formed from the ship's core, a wave of kinetic disruption. It pulsed across the enemy, and this time they screamed. Not through sound. Through data. Through the ship's sensors' pain, the creatures felt pain, and they fled. What remained of the scouts spun away. Back toward the black void they had come from. Silence returned, but not relief. Aaron exhaled. They'll be back. Seraph nodded. Now they know you're sent. Aaron looked at Earth, still untouched, still unaware. For now, he whispered, we have to wake the others, because the swarm had seen them, and the countdown had begun. Rain poured over an ancient desert, far from Earth, on a world humans once called uninhabitable. But below the red dunes, something waited, deep, cold, and very much alive. The Warden Prime hovered silently above the sandstorm, cloaked in its atmospheric field. Inside the command bridge, Captain Aaron Vale stood over a slowly rotating scan of the planet's surface. They said this place was dead, Karn muttered, checking his rifle. No colonies, no tech, not even minerals worth mining. Sira leaned forward at her console. That's what the records say. But the Wardens knew to come here. It's in the ship's core directives. Oren nodded. And the coordinates. Lead here. This planet isn't just a rock, it's a vault. 8. Beneath them, the storm parted briefly, revealing a jagged canyon in the sand. 8. Glowing with faint blue lines, and ancient, and humming with power. They descended in a dropship. Silent, guns ready. The sandstorm howled above, but as they entered the canyon, the wind stopped. Total stillness. The air itself felt heavier, denser. Rilo's voice came through their earpieces. You are approaching a structure, material unknown. Predates human. Space travel possibly predates the Empire. Sira's eyes widened. Predates the Empire? That would make it older than anything we've seen. Aaron stepped ahead, lighting his path with a shoulder lamp. As they moved deeper into the chasm, the canyon walls shimmered, faintly carved with markings in a language none of them understood. But the Warden Seraph, walking behind them, placed a hand on the wall and whispered something low. The wall glowed on. Shifted. A massive doorway slid open without a sound. Inside was darkness, and a single, soft blue light at the center of a wide chamber. Karn raised his weapon. I don't like this. Aaron didn't respond. He stepped into the chamber, heart pounding. The blue light pulsed like a heartbeat. Around it were shapes-curved walls, sleek surfaces, and massive pods lining both sides of the chamber. Each one was sealed, covered in strange frost. Sira approached a console built into the floor. This is Warden tech. Early design, prototype level. She pressed a few buttons. The pods began to light up, one by one, inside them humans or something. Close, tall, pale figures, armored in smooth black plates. Eyes shut, faces calm. Neither dead nor alive. Stas Karn backed away. "What is this place?" The warden Seraph answered. "A forgotten garrison." Aaron turned toward him. "They were wardens." The Seraph nodded. "First generation, not grown, not programmed, chosen," Sierra whispered. "They're human," the Seraph said. "They were, but they were changed. Enhanced by the architects." Karn raised a brow. "Architects?" Sierra shook her head. "That term doesn't appear in any Earth or Empire database." Aaron stepped closer to one of the pods. The figure inside looked like a soldier, but older, worn, and covered in cracks. "Time hadn't been kind to them. They've always been here," the Seraph continued. "Long before Earth rose. The architects seated wardens across space, to stand watch, to wait, and to warn." "Warn who?" Aaron asked. "Their descendants?" A chill passed through the room. Sierra's hand hovered over the console. "Should I wake one?" she asked. The Seraph hesitated. "Only one. The rest are unstable." Aaron nodded. "Do it." Sierra tapped. The controls, one of the pods hissed. Steam poured from the edges. The frost melted away. The figure inside opened its eyes. They glowed dim at first, then brighter. The pod door cracked open with a low hiss, and out stepped a soldier from another. Age, the man was tall, easily 7 feet. His armor shifted subtly, adapting to the air. His eyes scanned the room, then settled on Aaron. "You wear the mark," he said in a slow, gravelly voice. Aaron raised his brows. "The mark." The man approached, stopping just in front of him. "You were chosen, or born close enough to be accepted." "I didn't choose anything," Aaron replied. The ancient warden nodded once. "They never do." Sierra stepped forward. "Who were the architects?" The warden looked past her, as if remembering something distant. "They were not gods," he said, "but they created as gods do. They saw the swarm before any of us, built defenses, woke us, sent us to the edges of space." Karn asked, "Why hide here? Why sleep for centuries?" The old warden turned to him. "Because the swarm is not something you fight with fleets. You fight it with time, with survivors, with silence." Aaron clenched his jaw. "But now they've seen us." The ancient warden's face darkened. "Then we must act." He turned and placed his hand on the chamber wall. Symbols lit up. A deep rumble shook the canyon. From beneath the sand, vast doors opened, revealing more than 100 underground hangars, each filled with old warden ships. Smaller than the Warden Prime, but sleek, fast, and armed. "You'll need these," he said. Sierra stared in disbelief. "You're giving them to us?" "No," he said. "I'm joining you. We all are." The other pods lit up. More eyes opened. Hundreds back on the Warden Prime. Rilo's sensors lit up. "Captain," it said calmly. "Long-range detection reports new Imperial movement. Multiple fleets. Direction, Earth." Karn looked up at the screen. "They're making a move." Sierra tapped in. "They must have picked up on the swarm's message. They think Earth is a weakness." Aaron's face was set. "Then we won't. Let them get close." The ancient warden looked at Aaron. "You'll need more than weapons. You'll need unity." Aaron nodded, and we wake the rest. Far away, hidden in a black nebula, the Empire's War Council gathered in silence. Figure cloaked in shadow spoke. "The humans have awakened the vault." Another replied, "The architect's legacy will stir the swarm. We are all in danger now." A third leaned forward. "Then we use them as bait. Let the swarm come to Earth. We'll strike from behind. End the war before it begins." The shadows. All agreed, except one. An older man, eyes tired, voice calm. "No, we must speak with them, the humans, the wardens." The architects left them behind for a reason. The others turned toward him. "Treason," one spat. "Wisdom." The man replied, "They voted." The old man lost, and so the war marched forward. Aaron stood on the bridge of the Warden Prime, staring at the growing fleet around them. Days, now reborn. Piloted by soldiers who had waited for centuries, Sira leaned over. "They've always been here," she said. "And they were waiting for us." Aaron nodded. But so was the swarm. And somewhere in the dark the swarm stirred, watching, hungry, waiting. To strike. The stars above Earth burned bright, too bright. From orbit they looked like diamonds, but Aaron Vale knew better. Those lights weren't stars, they were ships. Dozens of them, sleek, black, imperial. The Empire wasn't coming to help. It was coming to claim. The Warden Prime floated just outside Earth's orbit, hidden behind the shadow of the moon. Inside, the bridge was silent as the team stared at the growing fleet, their positioning in attack formation. Sira said quietly. Karn growled. "That's not a defense grid. That's a trap." "They're not here for the swarm," Aaron said. "They're here for us." The Warden Seraph stood motionless. "The Empire fears the old power. It sees us as a threat." "They're not wrong," Aaron muttered. "But the timing, why now?" Rilo's voice cut in. "Because the swarm has vanished from all sensors. No trace, no signal. It's as if they've cloaked the entire sector." "They're waiting," Sira whispered, "watching the Empire make its move. Far above Earth." The Imperial flagship Sovereign Blade opened a channel to all Earth-based systems. A face appeared, sharp, clean-shaven, and cold. "Admiral Celis. This is Admiral Celis of the Imperial Fleet. Earth is under protective lockdown. All unauthorized vessels are to surrender immediately or be destroyed." Aaron stared at the screen. "Protective lockdown?" Karn snapped. "Since when did protection involve orbital guns aimed at civilians?" Aaron stepped forward. "Open a channel." The crew looked at him. "You sure?" Sira asked. "They already—" "No, we're here," he replied. "We might as well speak for ourselves." The screen blinked. A connection formed. Celis appeared again. But this time Orin was on the other side. "Captain Vale," Celis said. "So? The ghost of Earth's past returns." "We found something," Aaron said calmly. "The wardens, the vaults, the truth. Relevant?" Celis replied. "Your presence disrupts order. The people still believe in myths. You encourage that belief. I'm not interested in your order. I'm interested in surviving what's coming." Celis narrowed his eyes. "There's no threat. You invented one. You activated dangerous relics without oversight. You've made Earth a target." Aaron shook his head. "We didn't make Earth a target. We just made it visible." Celis gave a cold smile. "Then it's time to turn off the lights." "How?" The screen went black, and the Imperial fleet began to move. The sky above, Earth split with fire as plasma trails lit the atmosphere. Imperial dropships launched. Orbital cannons turned. The first wave was coming. "They're going for our launch sites," Sira said, "trying to ground us." "They'll hit cum towers too," Karn added. "Cut the planet off." "We hit first," Orin said. "Launch the decoys, scramble defense drones, and power up the Warden fleet." In the hangar below, the newly awakened Warden ships hummed to life. Their pilots silent, battle-hardened. Some barely human marched into position. The Warden Prime shot forward, its cloak dropping as it blasted through lunar shadow into full view. Alarms across the Imperial fleet erupted. A new message flashed. "Through all channels, the Wardens defend Earth. Stand down, or be dismantled." They didn't stand down. The battle exploded in Earth's upper orbit. Warden fighters spun through Imperial formations, outpacing missiles and carving through metal like wind through leaves. Their ships were older, but faster, smarter. Imperial. Cruisers struck back with brute force, raining fire. The Warden Prime cut through the chaos like a phantom, disabling command ships with surgical strikes. Inside, Karn moved like fire, targeting, adjusting. Calling out flanks, Sira rerouted power. To the shields. Her hands flying across the console, Aaron stood between them. "Don't destroy more than we must," he ordered. "We're not here to win a war with humans. Just stop one." But then, everything changed. The sky went still. The firing slowed. Because something else had arrived. It began with a shadow. Not a ship. Not even a shape. Just the absence of stars. Something so big it blocked entire constellations. The swarm had come. Out of the dark, the first wave surged past the moon. Hundreds of thousands of living machines, shifting, combining, stretching. They didn't fly. They consumed space as they moved. The Empire froze, so did the Wardens. Contact in 12 seconds, Rilo said. Ern whispered, "This is what you were afraid of." Lacerif replied, "This is only a scout wave." Sira gasped. A scout? The Imperial fleet turned its guns away from the Wardens and toward the real enemy. Too late. The swarm hit like a plague. Ships tore apart mid-broadcast. Their pieces absorbed by the enemy like food. An Imperial destroyer tried to warp out. Its drive was ripped from its core before the jump could finish. The Sovereign Blade fired everything it hadn't, still vanished under a wave of black tendrils. Arn's voice rang out. "Full retreat. Form up with surviving Imperial ships. We fight this together now." Even Karn didn't argue. The Wardens swung around and formed a defensive line between Earth and the swarm. The surviving Imperials, less than a third of the fleet, followed their lead. The battle turned brutal. Warden ships sacrificed themselves to protect hospitals, power grids, launch points. Imperial vessels followed commands from Arn, now not sealess, and for one brief hour, humanity stood as one. Then the swarm pulled back, not destroyed, not defeated, just watching, floating. A message echoed across every frequency. You divide, we multiply, then silence. Back on the Warden Prime, smoke and sparks filled the command. Sira's hands were burned. Karn had a deep gash across his arm. Rilo's voice was shaky, glitched. Damage reports. Hull breach is sealed. Primary drive intact. Arn slumped into the captain's chair. "They let us live," he whispered. The Seraph nodded. This was not their invasion. It was their warning. Arn turned to Sarah. "Can we track them?" "No, they vanish like ghosts. Even with the Warden net, they're beyond it." Karn sat on the floor, head back. "Then what now?" Arn stared out the viewport. Earth was still there, whole, but not safe. "Now," he said, "we unify. Wardens, Empire, Earth, we bring them all to the table." The Seraph stepped forward. "There is one last vault, buried beneath the stars. If we awaken it, the swarm will come for real." Arn's eyes narrowed. "Then we go first." In the dark of space, the swarm reformed. It had learned, it had watched, it had tasted war again. But now it wanted more. Because deep within the final vault, something was calling back. Space was silent, too silent. The Warden Prime glided past dead stars, toward the edge of the known galaxy. No beacons, no maps. No ships had passed through this region for centuries, and for good reason. This was where the architects had buried their last gift, the final vault. Captain Arn Vale stood at the bridge window. His eyes locked on the swirling black and gold storm ahead. The vault was inside that maelstrom. Hidden in a pocket of space where time twisted and signals bent, "We're picking up trace harmonics," Sira said. "Same signature as the first vault, but stronger. Much stronger." Karn checked his weapons. "That storm's not natural. It's alive. It doesn't want us to reach it." The Warden Seraph approached them quietly. "That storm was made by the architects to keep the vault sealed until the right moment." "And this is it?" Arn asked. "Yes," the Seraph replied, "because the swarm has awoken." Rilo's voice crackled through the bridge. "Multiple signals. Rear flank. They're following us. Swarm." Sira asked. "No," Rilo replied. "Worse. Empire." 6 Imperial dreadnoughts warped into view, just outside the storm. They didn't fire, not yet. A transmission came in. Admiral Celis, or what was left of him. His face was burned, one eye cybernetic. His voice was steady. "You will turn back. Now, Captain Vale? The vault is not meant to be opened." "You tried to destroy Earth?" Arn replied coldly. "You failed. Don't fail again." "The swarm is listening," Celis said. "They want the vault open, so they can claim what's inside." "Then why are you here?" to stop you. If I must, I'll destroy the vault before I let you unlock it. Behind Aaron, the ancient warden stepped forward. If you do that, the seraph said, you'll doom us all. The architects left something in that vault, something meant to end the swarm. Silas stared at him, then ended the call. A second later, the ships powered their weapons. The storm howled as the Warden Prime plunged into the maelstrom. Lightning arced across its hull, shields screaming, metal groaned. Inside the vault zone, space bent. Stars twisted. Time slowed, but ahead of them something massive waited. A ring the size of a moon. Hovering inside the storm, the final vault. It was silent, dark, but still intact. Sira gasped. It's not a building, it's a being. The ring began to glow. Slow pulse. Like a heartbeat, the vault was alive. Karn muttered, now what? The seraph spoke. Someone must speak the code. What code? Orin asked. The truth. Aaron stepped forward. His voice was steady. We were broken, divided, lost. But we remembered. We remembered who we were meant to be. The vault pulsed faster. We're not just survivors. We're defenders. Blinding light erupted from the center. Then the vault opened. From its center rose a sphere of glowing crystal, larger than a city, covered in ancient runes. Inside it floated something strange. A figure, not human, not machine. Something in between, tall, silent. Wearing armor made of starlight, its eyes opened and spoke. You are late. Aaron swallowed. You're an architect? No, the being said. I was made by them. I am the core, Sira whispered. What are you here to do? The core looked at her, to finish the war. Outside the storm, the swarm arrived. Living tide endless. Dark. They circled the vault like vultures, watching, waiting. Then they struck. Swarm tendrils launched forward straight into the storm. Toward the open vault, Aaron turned to the core. Can you stop them? The core shook its head. No, only you can. The vault opened fully and revealed a chamber. Inside was a single chair, old, covered in wires, built for a mind, not a body. The seraph turned to Aaron, the chair of command. It links to every wardenship, every vault, every core. But it's one way, Sira whispered. Whoever connects becomes part of it. Forever. Karn stepped back. So we plug in and never come out. The core nodded. You become the signal, the brain, the final defense. Aaron looked out the window. The swarm was breaching the storm. One more minute and they'd be inside. He turned to Sira. Get the rest of the crew back to Earth. What? She said. You're not I am? This is what I was born for. Why the vault recognized me. Why the wardens followed me. Sira grabbed his arm. Don't do this alone. He smiled. I'm not. I've got all of them. He looked at the seraph. Will you stay with me? Yes, the seraph said. Till the end. Aaron stepped into the chamber. Sat in the chair and connected. A flash of white, then silence. Then everything. Aaron's mind stretched across the galaxy. He felt every wardenship, every signal, every vault. He felt the pain of Earth, the screams of battle. He felt the swarm. Coming, and he responded. The Warden fleet lit up. Across thousands of systems, dormant ships came alive. Hidden vaults opened. Buried A's rebooted. The final network was complete. From the edge of space, a new Warden fleet emerged, millions strong. The swarm hesitated. Too late. The Warden system struck. Blades of energy. Shields of light. Gravity weapons that bent the laws. A physics dot. The swarm broke. Not all, but enough. They scattered, fled. Vanished into dark holes beyond space. Earth was safe for now, on the Warden Prime. Sira stared at the now empty chair. Aaron was gone. But in the vault, the light still pulsed. He was still there, everywhere. She whispered, "Goodbye, Captain." Karn placed a hand on her shoulder. "No, not goodbye. He's the signal now." She nodded. "He's our defender." Back on Earth, people looked up and saw the sky light up with Silver Line's Warden satellites. Now active peace, for the first time, didn't feel like a dream. A message echoed across every screen. Every speaker, every mind. A voice, Arns. Voice, we stand together. We protect what matters. We defend the stars, and we are ready. The war wasn't over, but humanity had found its shield, and in the dark, beyond the stars, the swarm watched, waiting, but they would not find Earth unguarded. Again, because now, defenders had returned.